Hello. My name is Ramsey Sanchez, and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here today because I want to talk to you about buying and selling your equipment, and if you should buy new or if you should buy used. I think for about a decade now, I have been buying and selling a lot of video production gear, and I've recently kind of got into photography, but what I've learned is actually quite a few points, and that's why I have here a little T diagram with some points that I made. And I'm sure there's several other points that I could have made, but the most important ones I listed here. And I would say that I enjoy watching those shows on the History Channel like Pawn Stars or American Pickers. They're always negotiating on like really cool items and things that they're really interested in. And I found that I'm really interested in video production gear, and then I found that I'm probably even more interested than I am in video production gear when I'm selling it. When I start talking with people and negotiating prices and doing the whole spill of, oh, this is why you need to buy, or this is why you shouldn't buy it at this price. I need it at this price, and blah blah blah. It's a really cool gig for some reason. You can make some money off of it, have some fun, and you network with people. But I want to just get into the T diagram real quick. You're probably asking yourself, well, you already know most of these points, I think. But let's start off with you buy new. Obviously, you get a warranty. So what does a warranty entail? It just depends on the company. If you buy a Best Buy, I think you get 15 days or 30 days. Apple is like 15 days, 30 days, depending on the high ticket item. And you get that time to do a return. I have return here, but for warranty, you have a year, I believe. So again, you have to talk with them. Sometimes it could be shorter, I think, but 1 year seems to be the standard. And I really think that's important because you might save a lot of money. You know, after that 30-day return window or 15 days, whatever it is, you are pretty much on your own if you don't have a warranty. So companies, I believe, are required to give a warranty. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But if you do have a warranty, I've seen it to where someone has a defected item and then they send it in, pay a small fee, they get it back fixed. If they can't fix it, I think they replace it. Again, that's something you kind of have to look into because every company is different, every item's different. It's rewarding. I put down reward. It's rewarding because I think that when you're trying to reward yourself after having a good year of sales, or if you had a good year in your company, somehow you want to just reward yourself, or get yourself a gift from Amazon. So you might buy your equipment new. You might buy the camera new. Again, you might say, look, it's a goal. I told myself that if I did this in 2 years, I'm going to buy myself a brand new gimbal or a brand new drone. That's awesome. Buy it brand new. Do that every 2 years. Do it every year. Who knows? I mean, you might be the person who does it every 3 months or whenever the next camera comes out. Well, if that's how you like to roll, then that's the way you roll. Reward yourself. Reward yourself. Support small business. I remember going to a swap meet for gear, and there was a girl there whose father helped. Who runs a camera shop in the city that I live in, and she was really into the gear and into the camera stuff, and I can tell that she has a lot of passion for that shop because it's her father's shop. But at the same time, I believe that it's really important that you support the small business that is, especially in the niche that you love being in. For me, the camera gear is important. I would love to have the camera shop there forever. Sometimes I believe there's only a couple of Best Buys in my city of 2 million people that has all the camera gear that I can go and try out, but they don't have everything still. The camera store usually has a lot more items, and they have experts and people who deal with seasoned professionals. So they're going to be hearing a lot of the same questions that you're going to have when it comes to some of the new gear that comes out. So support your small business, because when you're giving your money to them, and I think I heard this from Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, when you give somebody your money, you're telling them that I'm wanting to invest in you and that you love that they're there. So that's what it means to give somebody your cash or your credit or whatever it is. Extended warranty, that is something I love about Panasonic. They offer a 3-year warranty. It's such a great company, and they have amazing cameras and equipment. And it's not, I don't believe this works with all their cameras, but most of the cameras, they offer a 3-year extended warranty. So if anything happens with that camera in 3 years, you can send it in and do whatever they need to do. And that's really awesome. You could try to get something like Square Trade, but you have to buy it new, or you have to buy it with a supplier that offers that with that camera. And you also have to be mindful that these companies don't offer the same coverage either. They might give you a little bit more issues, and you go into the reviews and look at the reviews to make sure that they're credible when it comes to that, because a lot of times they might just want you to replace the whole camera itself, and I don't really know what that's like because I never had that issue. I usually never get to a point where my camera breaks or my big ticket item breaks like that. Returns, I already kind of mentioned that there's a 15-30 day return. However, that's a really cool option, because I know that some people kind of try it before they buy it thing. And when you have that option to return it in 15 days. However, there is a fee when it comes to that. I don't know if every company does it, but a restocking fee, they might charge you something like that, especially when you're doing online orders and it's a new item. They might charge you to return it, and or to usually they'll pay for the shipping, but again, you have to ask the questions and know those answers, and be responsible for yourself on that. Preference, I have known people who say, I don't want to have that same item that someone else used. I don't want to buy the shoes and put my foot in that shoe when someone else used it. Yeah, that's a weird way of thinking sometimes, but that's okay, because others have been raised to work hard, earn their money, and buy it brand new. And if they have no use for it anymore, then that's okay. Sell it off, and that's what it is. And that is not my preference. I usually try to find the best deal. A lot of people actually praise that more, to find it cheaper. So we'll get into that. Tax write-off, you might want to go with your lawyer and your CPA about this. But tax write-offs are really important, especially when you buy things brand new, because now you get the warranty, you get it brand new, and you could possibly write it off on your business to help you save some money in the long run, because running business costs a lot of money. So, buying it used. Yes, buy it used. Get it cheaper. Now, a lot of times this could be used negatively. I don't want others to think that when you buy something used, it's going to break down. A lot of people hear that word when it comes to buying a vehicle. They don't want to buy a vehicle used because they don't know how much mileage, what the history is. Give me the Carfax on this thing, please. Not a lot of people will give you the facts about items used, so it kind of builds up that wall of, now I don't want to buy anything used. Well, it's just a risk that you have to take sometimes, but I bought several cameras over the years, and a lot of times they were new. They were used. There were only a couple of my cameras that had been new, and the only reason why I bought the first camera new was because when 4K, which is like 4 times 1080, and we'll get into that later video, but I had to have the camera, and I bought it new. And recently I felt like my work was really been good these last couple of years, so I bought a camera, and sometimes I'm an early adopter on things like that because I get a good deal. But most of the time I buy things used because I don't want to have an attachment to them, and I will want to sell it at some point. But here's another thing: sell at a profit. I love this option. I love buying things and selling at a profit. I was watching Pawn Stars, and the guy who heads the shop, he was saying that, look, if you buy something, you gotta make money. I remember he was talking about this really cool go-kart that he got from some kind of deal. He bought it for so much money. He put about another $3,000 into it, fixed up the engine, a paint job. And then somebody came in wanting to make a trade in a cash offer for that item. And he says, look, I've had so much fun with it for a year. And eventually, he says, I was just kind of waiting around for somebody to give me the right number. So this guy offered him a price. And he says, look, you can break even on this item for this price. And the guy who had the shop, he said, no, I'm not in the business to break even. I need to make some money from this. So it depends on, again, your preference. If you want to make some money on these items, I'm kind of seeing that that's the best way of doing it. I bought this Manfrotto monopod for $27, and I believe these things go for a lot more. And the only reason why it was so cheap is because they said that the feet were broken, but I ended up just fixing it by bending these metal rods back, and it works just fine. I've used it on several projects, and I used to have one of these before, and these things are amazing. So if I just buy a tripod head and put it on top, I can easily 3x my number. I mean, spend 50 and I get like 130 by selling it on eBay. That is ultimately how you can start selling and making money to fund your business at the start. Or you could just make some money to use for a trip or something for your passion projects. This is by far my favorite part of selling items. I think I do enjoy the negotiation and all of that with the selling items, but networking has always been so key for me and building professional relationships. I made like a quick note here, but really, you buy the gear and you sell it, you make money once. But if you're building relationships, you're building a lasting relationship professionally that's going to make you successful in the long run, because it's who you know, right? You got to like them, you got to know them, you got to trust them. So, just a quick story. I remember I wanted to buy a lens. It just came out from Sigma, and I said I have to have this lens, but it's such a hefty investment. But I know I'm going to use it, and I'm going to need it for my work. So I went ahead, purchased the lens. I used it on some projects, and it turned out I didn't need the lens after all. So I listed it on Craigslist, and then next thing you know it, I got an immediate response. I talked with the person, made sure that this person was legit. I built my report to, and we set up a time to meet. We met at the Starbucks. We sat down. We talked about our careers, and in the end, we exchanged numbers. And then later on, he helped me get a couple of paying gigs. I got my money for my lens. I got money paid from him from jobs, and ultimately at the end of this, I really just made a friend. And you're not, you're like, well, I don't want to make a friend, but you can network and build business relationships. You don't have to always sit down and have coffee with these people, but they can really make you money someday. And you can have a really good friend if that's what you need. But let's get to the next thing. It doesn't just stop at a camera or a lens and a memory card. I know a lot of videographers who eventually start going for the gimbals and the drones. They need the desk, they need the monitor, they need the computer, they need the lights, and that's going to cost you a lot of money. So if you're going to spend thousands of dollars, maybe you should look at the used items. I've seen really successful people who still going online and still trying to find that deal on that light panel, or a good deal on some audio equipment, because that stuff is expensive. It's not cheap, and it's expensive for a reason. And they still go for a decent price used too, so they're going for that used market. Tax write-off, obviously, it's the same thing. You don't get the warranties, but you could probably get some insurance on your gear, and something happens, you can get your insurance company to help cut a check to replace that gear. Again, consult with your lawyer or your CPA or whoever you need to do, and ask questions about that. But there are options if you buy things used. You can still help your business in taxes, and you can get it insured, I believe. So, I put not attached, but I think I meant like not attached emotionally or sentimentally or something like that. You don't want to get all gushy and soft with your equipment. But, some people might say like, hey, I had this camera when I did my very first project, and I don't think I can ever give it away. I'm going to put it on the shelf and leave it there. It was the first camera I bought. I sold the first camera I bought, and I bought it used. However, I just bought something new, and I don't think I'm going to sell it because it is, but it helps you kind of get through that a little bit easier. You buy things used more often, and you sell it more often. You don't get as attached, and then you're not supporting a bunch of cameras. It just depends who you are. You might try to say, well, in the future, I might have a really awesome camera that someone wants later on. Because film cameras nowadays are selling for way more than they were ever priced at before. And that's obviously for a reason. So, just kind of take that risk and think about what you're going to do. Support creators, support creators, support creators. Yes! Support us. Support yourself. Support creators. You need to help those that you love, the content that you love. So if you find that you love this person on Instagram and you love their content, see what they're doing on their social media. They might be posting gear online and they might be selling off their old gear to get some other gear. And now you can buy their gear and help support them and see more of their content. And at the same time, you're building a relationship with these creators. So you give them a deal, later on they give you a deal. And ultimately, that is what you're going to say. And ultimately, I'm saying the word ultimately a lot. I don't even know if I'm using it in the right context anymore. But support your creators. I think it's very important. When you're supporting creators or supporting small business, again, you're telling them, I want to invest in you because I want to see more of your work and I don't want you to go anywhere. Because I know that a sad thing is when people get into photography or videography, they do end up buying a lot of this stuff brand new because they go to the store and the store tells them, yes, buy this brand new. And then some months go by and then they kind of fall out of love with it and they have other priorities. And then they end up having to sell that gear off. So you might want to support them and say, well, that's okay. I'll get this gear off of you. And that's a good opportunity for you to find some gear for a really good price. And then, you can flip it or whatever you want to do with it, depending on your intentions. So just a few things I think you should think about when you're buying and selling and all this with new gear, used gear, is just make sure that you have the right intentions. When going into this, be safe when you're meeting up with people. And again, ask yourself, am I going to use this? How am I going to make money? Is it going to be for projects or is it going to be to flip? And, start thinking about how you can start building relationships and having conversations with people. There's so much benefit to this. It goes down to a human level when it comes to negotiating and making sales. And this is something we've been doing for a while. I mean, there's markets that have been around for hundreds of years. It's crazy. I don't see eBay going away for a really, really long time. And you think about it, the eBay market is going to be around for hundreds of years now, as long as the internet exists. So I think that find something that you fall in love with in your niche, and then maybe get into the game of buying and selling the items, whether it's new or used. You might find that you really enjoy that too, and it's a great way to make money. I know a couple who are doing that on eBay. They're buying things from garage sales and stuff, and they're making quite a bit, a nice piece of change from doing that. So hopefully you got some great content out of this. I think in the future I'm going to have some links and some items down there, so I hope you check it out. And for now, read my description. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, and not too much. But I really do appreciate that you're here. I love talking about this content. I hope that you will like my video and subscribe to my channel. And leave a comment or even a question about this sort of topic. I would really love to chat about this. This is something I am very interested in. And I hope that this has brought some value to you. And again, I'm glad you're here. I guess I just want to end on, just have a good year and make sure that there's always positive in your mind, and try to always focus on that. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and have a good one.